Almost at ahead of 150 followers, guys. Congratulations.
That's good.
Nice.
Pretty fucking awesome.
We're getting there.
Sorry, YouTube.
I just hit the go live button, and you're dropping.
Did he
the
just
audio.
go live?
Womp.
I haven't seen it yet, so I think you're saying.
Let's see if that gets picked up.
There it is.
It's literally a 7-second window, and we hit it in second.
And
3.
I just dropped it right in.
That's okay.
You did say it. Yep.
Ah.
it made it past the censors.
That's okay. It's all right. All right. But yeah, let me know if Twitch starts buffering. If it does, I'll kill something.
I don't see Twitch going.
No?
No.
Go figure.
It ain't buffering because it ain't running. Well, we're definitely live on YouTube in all its glory.
Well, give me 1 second. I'll check here. Hello, everybody. Well, everybody that can see us anyway.
Hello, McFly.
Let me see. I think what it is that when I'm trying to record and stream twice, it's just too many encoders for my too many lines for my computer.
Thank you, Jeff. We don't see it either.
Jeff has confirmed that we don't see
Okay.
Twitch.
All right, you know what? Let me try something real quick.
No.
That.
Try
do it anyway.
Wow. Jake's a rebel today.
That's what they call me. Canadian
Without
rebel.
Without a
Canadian
cause.
Angry beaver noises.
Without a cause.
All right. I think
I gotta say I laughed too hard at that. I laughed too hard at that TikTok.
Which one? Oh, the Shrek vomiting?
No, not the Shrek vomiting. The when Canadians see miles per hour instead of mooses per syrup. Angry beaver noises.
Mooses per syrup.
Like the real secret is we do measure in distance up here, like time. That's how we measure things up here. It's like 3 hours away, and things are shorter in Quebec.
That's actually pretty common around here as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes. I typically say it'll take me about 10 minutes to get there.
Especially in the Pacific Northwest, you can't. Distance doesn't mean jack.
I mean, yeah, we're half Canadian up here, anyways, Wolf. So
it's in San Bernardino, it was like 30 or San Diego, either of those. 30 miles meant like 30 minutes, give or take. Here, it could be an hour and a half. It's
10 miles is at least an hour.
It's like New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the airport once.
It's just 3 blocks. So 4 hours.
I planned my trip to JFK once, and it was like, I don't know, like 10 miles or something. And I was like, okay, that'll take me 20 minutes. And the person's like, that I'm with is like, you got to leave an hour ahead.
Yeah.
Like 10 miles? Yeah.
I hope you're putting the buffer in there. I hope the buffer is coming up.
And not far off.
Yeah, Twitch is not kicking in. It's just I think because I was trying the recording at the same time. I tried turning the recording off and kicking on Twitch, didn't work. So I think next time I just don't record and we yank it from YouTube, and then we'll do it that way. We'll figure it out. So no.
You can always drop them in as highlights and stuff. I think just use like the actual file.
Yeah,
drop it in.
But nobody watches VODs on Twitch. It's just the live stream I was trying to do.
Right.
But you know,
it's fine.
Fuck Twitch this week. We love you, Twitch. Please follow us on Twitch. But we're not going to be live this week.
Don't worry, I got our Twitch corner covered.
All right. All right. So I guess we can get ready to go. I'm hosting, right? I am hosting. Okay. It's one of those weeks. All right.
Certainly has.
If I'm hosting, I don't have a one-liner yet.
I'm hosting and I don't have a one-liner.
I got a one-liner.
No one-liner today on.
I got a good one.
What do you got?
You ready?
Yeah, sure.
Am I going to do it?
I'll host. You say the line. Yeah.
Tale as old as time, true as it can be. Barely even friends, Then somebody bends unexpectedly. Beauty and the Shadow of the Beast. Today on.
I can't beat that.
Don't talk over the intro.
You're right. You're right.
Give yourself the gesture when it's done.
That's true. Okay. Welcome everybody to another episode of Press B to Cancel. Let's try it one more time. We'll fix that in post. Welcome everybody to another episode of Press B to Cancel. I am your host this week, Sick Jake. Not alone, no. This week we got an extra special crew of people. Well, I mean they've been here before, but they're extra special this week to me. So starting off with Sinistar. Sinistar, how you doing this week?
I'm just glad it's Friday.
Me too. And Wolf, how about you? How are you doing this week?
I am feeling extra special. Thank you.
Great. And of course, with the beautiful, what do you call it? Chops? Chard, how you doing this week?
I'm good. I am bringing the extra special sauce today, so we're ready to go.
We're sorry, YouTube. We're sorry for the language we've used. I will say, Chard, the one thing I do miss is you can't do it anymore. But back in the day, I remember watching you on Twitch, and you would do the Twitch sings, and I think you did more than a few Disney songs in the day. So you got a great voice.
Yes. Thank you. It's been a while.
And what could be more closer to Disney than the game we're going to talk about this week?
Yeah. By the way, sorry, Disney, don't sue us.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, please. Look, it's not Steamboat Willie, but don't sue. We're going to talk about a game that. Look, this is a game that has a reputation as being bad. But I'm going to argue that it's not. I'm not going to go out on a limb and call it a hidden gem because we do that too much. But it's not as bad as you might think. And that game is an Amiga classic, Shadow of the Beast. So for those who have never heard of this game, not surprised, it's from a British studio known as Reflections. They still exist today, although I think they're owned by Ubisoft now. British studio that in 1989, it was one of their earlier titles. I want to say it's within 3 or 4 titles of them launching. There's the studio. 2 folks got together, and it's their second game they developed. And this is the first game that they themselves stated that they treated seriously, that they actually tried to do their best to make a graphical powerhouse of a game, and that is Shadow of the Beast. So I know we had some homework the past week or so where we're all going to play these games. Who here beat Shadow of the Beast? Anybody? Anybody? Raise your hand.
Beat? You?
No.
Yeah.
Nobody beat this game. Nobody beat this game. It is a hard as hell, hard as nails game. Here's the thing with this game. The designer of the game purposely wanted this game to be as hard as hell because, in his words, he used to get frustrated playing games that were too easy. So he purposely made a game that's incredibly difficult. Now, it's an interesting game because it's been ported. Originally, it was an Amiga title, which is a system that we don't have much exposure to here in North America, but I know it was all the rage in the UK back in the 80s, 90s. But it was ported, that game, to damn well everything, right? Not as much as Tetris, but we had ports of this game on Genesis or the Mega Drive. We had it on, I think it was TurboGrafx 16, Sega Master System. There's even a prototype for the Super Nintendo version as well, if you can believe it. So I have some video clips that I'll C64. So I'll bring up some clips as we're talking through this game. But I think we're mostly going to probably focus on the Amiga and probably the Genesis version. The Genesis version is the one that we would probably have access to. But it's interesting because this is a franchise as well. It's not just a single title. There's also Shadow of the Beast 2 and 3. I'm not as familiar with those, but I think, Sinistar, you played a little bit of those or tried to.
I played a little bit of 2, and then I spun up 3 for a little while, but I also watched kind of a long play of 3, and 3 is an interesting animal. It is a big change in the and we'll get there when we talk about it, but it's a big change from the original.
Are 2 and 3 only on the Amiga, or did they get ported to other stuff too?
2 is on the Genesis. But
not North America though. I think Europe only.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Europe.
Okay.
But 3, I don't. Let me look it up while we're sitting here. But
yeah, I don't think it got released outside the Amiga.
Looks like it's just Amiga.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's start with the first game here. So. Shadow of the Beast. So there is a story to this game, and this is where it kind of has an interesting premise. Essentially, I think your name is Avalon. You're kidnapped as a baby by an evil wizard, you know, as you do, and you're basically turned into an evil beast, the shadow of the beast, right? And you're basically used as slave labor by this evil wizard. And at some point in the story, you break free and you're trying to get revenge and take down this evil wizard. So it takes place what you think is maybe a fantasy world, but it's got like a bit of a sci-fi bent to it. When the game opens up, you see flying zeppelins in the background. There's elements of broken technology all over the place. I mean, you even get a laser gun at some point in the game. So it's got an interesting setting. It's a post-apocalyptic fantasy setting, which you don't see. I don't think you see that often. So did you guys like appreciate the setting, or did not hit for you?
I want to say that first off, this is a game that I played a long time ago as a kid on the Amiga because my uncle had one. Oh,
No.
Sinistar wasn't having it.
Nope.
Anyway.
Keep going.
So this is a game that I played as a kid on the Amiga. I did not get it then, but I was like 9 maybe, if that. So honestly, I was probably younger than that. I was probably like 7. Anyway, didn't click with me. I didn't get it. I was really bad at it. And it's given how stupidly hard it is, that makes sense, right?
Bad at it now.
Who is good at it?
Yeah, I don't know if you're bad at it so much as it's just a fucking hard game.
But checking out videos of it this week, immediately I was like, this is like Rygar, but you're a monster who uses his fists instead of a dude using a disc shield.
With a fin.
Like
until you get
I was thinking was like
until you get to number 3. Anyway.
But I was like, I was getting huge Rygar vibes. And then the sort of futuristic post-apocalyptic setting, even more Rygar vibes. So
yeah.
Well,
so
it's
I
funny
want
you
to
say
call
that.
out. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say in 2 and 3, you kind of do get the Rygar throwing shield thing. It's like a spiked blade, which makes no sense when you look at the first game because there's nothing like that in the first game. But it is.
You're
interesting.
also human in the other two. Like, yeah. Okay, so for me, when I spun this up, the very first thing that it hit all of those retro feels for me were the early 3D text with like the shine on it that's like the centered shine with like the 3D edges that kind of like look like and I'm like, oh my god, it's a Psygnosis game. Oh my god, it's a Psygnosis game. And so right off the bat, I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm in. I'm full on in here. And then I played it. But
yeah, I was there for a bit.
Well, it's interesting because like Psygnosis is like known when it comes to Amiga titles. Psygnosis is known as the studio that has the banging tracks. The soundtracks are amazing. Like it wasn't developed by them; it's developed by Reflections. But I do wonder, as a publisher, how much influence they had on the sound. They must have said, "Hey, we'll do the sound." Like there has to be some kind of connection there, because all their games are bangers when it comes to soundtrack.
And if you want to talk about like the most valuable piece of this game that has come out of it, I want to rip the soundtrack off of this thing and like create a CD of the soundtrack. Like it's that good.
And like that's not a stranger to the Amiga. Like the Amiga, that's one of my favorite things about going through the Amiga library today on the Mister is that most every game I've played on the Amiga has a killer soundtrack. And you can always tell when the studios that had games on the Amiga brought them over to the Genesis, more often than not, those studios brought the great music with them. Not quite as good as the Amiga, but I think they did a pretty good job with the Genesis version of these soundtracks.
Yeah. Okay, you're at the video's at a point where it's a boss, and like honestly, the bosses remind me of like weird fantasy version of the bosses in Contra. Like on one side of the screen, you're shooting them, you're doing whatever. I mean, these move a little bit more, but it's like it's kind of that like some weird thing on one side of the screen that you have to deal with, right?
I get a very and I don't know if it's just because of the name Beast is in it. We get a very Altered Beast feel for this kind of game. And I don't
Power
know if
Kind
it's
of.
the
up.
punching. Yeah. I don't know if it's the punching and the side scrolling or what, but it just, when I fired it up, I was kind of like, oh, I wonder if you get to turn into like some cool shit in this, like, because it feels very Altered Beast. It's just such a weird, it's such a weird game because it doesn't play into your brain. Like when you start the game and you're dropped into it, you automatically want to go right. I don't know why.
Yes.
My
Yes.
brain just wants me to go right, and you don't go right. You go left.
Super Mario Brothers
Yes.
trained
I
us to
mean,
go
I
right.
guess that's what I'm thinking. All games that always start with you going to the right. This is the only
Yeah.
one I think I've ever played where I was like, that's the wrong way. I need to I need to go the other way.
In fact, if you start the game by going right, it'll let you go right for a good amount of time, and you'll take damage from all the enemies that come flying at you on the screen, and you'll end up basically at a dead end. And it's infuriating that that's the default of this game, that you're supposed to go left. Like right from the get-go, it subverts your expectations and throws a wrench at you. But I got to say, the
it
opening...
does also,
Go ahead.
before you even get started, it's got it's got these little cutscenes from time to time, at least in the Amiga version.
Yeah.
And it opens with one of those, and they're mostly sort of to set the stage for, how what the game can't convey to you through the pixel art. They're trying to convey to you with, it's humid and dank and all, right? So they use descriptive words to sort of get that to you. But it also outright in that opening cutscene, it says, looking east, or there's a wide open field to you, to the east or to the west. But if you look east into the field or into the forest, there's just eyes staring out at you. So it's trying to convey, don't go right, go left.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's wild.
That's
And like
great.
that opening scene, the music is otherworldly. It really sets the tone. You're in like a pleasant forest, but you're running through this forest. And at least in the Genesis version, so this is something that came up, is that the Genesis versus the Amiga version, so Reflections made the Amiga version, and then I guess Psygnosis basically farmed out ports of this game to various other studios for other systems. So the Genesis version was done by a different company. And that company did, although it says in what I read that it was in error, I don't know if it's an error or just the way they designed it. It is faster on the Genesis version, at least I find, compared to the Amiga version. Not a lot faster, maybe 15% faster, but it is faster. And it's probably more noticeable too with the lower resolution of the Genesis. Go ahead.
That 15-ish% faster actually jives with conversion from PAL to NTSC.
Well, there you go. And that makes sense. I
There you
think
go.
that's what it was, right?
Fucking
That they
math.
misjudged the NTSC, like, frame rate, or the frame rate being different. So it messed up their coding. Like, because in this game, it's with that and the low resolution of the Genesis, when you're doing that opening scene running through the forest, the first two encounters you come across are boulders flying at you from the right side of the screen, and then giant bats from the left. And they fly at you like warp speed. The reaction time it takes to get them is insane, right?
You have probably 2 frames of reaction. Like,
yeah. And it's so frustrating because this is a game where, like the creator wanted, he wanted a hard as nails game. And in this game, you have exactly 1 life, no continues. It's just literally 1 go.
And no checkpoints either. Like,
yes.
I mean, I know you said no continues, but like every time you die, it is the beginning. Every time, no matter what.
And like, it's not an especially long game. I think it's 6 stages, 6 or 7 stages. I mean, if you know what to do,
I think on some of the long plays,
if you know where to go and the exact order to do things, you can do it in less than 30 minutes if you can survive that long.
Yeah.
But it's like all of these games where there's like, blind jumps and everything else. It's like your job is not to play the game as much, like it's not the mechanics of the game as much as to memorize when to punch, to memorize when to jump, to memorize when to duck, to memorize, and then, like, okay, I died, I found a new thing. Well, I better remember that thing now.
This game is very much on the vein of like in a Battletoadian kind of setup where it is impossibly hard for the first time you play it, and then you're just timing out where everything's at and watching it. This game would almost be like, if you played it enough times, you should be able to beat this game like Battletoads without dying or using a continue, because you should have it memorized so well that you won't take damage from anything. And that's some of the long plays I watched. The guy barely took damage for anything because he had the timing down like perfect.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's the pattern recognition. But I want to talk about the second stage when you go inside the tree, which first off, when you enter that tree and you get your little story, which is cool, immediately after the story cutscene is over, a fireball comes flying at your ass. It's the only spot in the game that has a fireball, and it's right from the stage 2 get-go. It's such a fuck you. It's like the snowball in Battletoads, actually, now that I think about it. And it's just wild to me. But this stage is the perfect example of what this game is like. There's a boss you have to get to at the end of the stage. He's completely invincible to everything you can do. You can punch and kick him all you want. You can't beat it, and you'll die if you try. In fact, if you go to the boss early, you're stuck at the boss until you die. You have to first navigate your way to get an orb from a gargoyle statue that shoots a flamethrower at you. It's stupid. You get this orb though, and it unlocks the ability to, I guess, do Hadoukens. Like for some reason, it makes no sense. But you get a fireball. But and what I didn't realize the first couple times I tried this game, once you kill any enemy with that fireball, you lose it. So what the challenge of this stage is, you have to first go find a key to get to the boss, then go get the fireball, and then go to the boss. And make sure you don't go the wrong way and have to kill something, because as soon as you kill another enemy, you lose it. And if you think that fireball respawns, nope, doesn't respawn. You get it once.
They're forcing a pacifist run after
this game is ridiculous.
It's the damnedest thing. But once you have that fireball, you go to the boss of the second stage, and then you think, oh, it's easy. You do a few shots. No. It's like a dozen shots at least.
And the thing's rolling at you the whole time.
Yeah. It's a massive screen-filling bone horror and if you touch it, you just touch it, dead.
Bone horror?
That's what it is. I can't remember the names of some of these. I think
that's going into
it's
Presby lore.
It's bone horror.
That's going in the lore books.
Bone horror. Okay.
Yeah, I don't care what its real name is. It's bone horror.
Yeah, but it's really something to see.
Then I want to talk about the last boss, because the last boss then is foot horror.
You want to jump ahead already? We'll get there. We'll get there.
I mean, but I'm not wrong, am I? It's foot horror.
No. Is it me? Because I found the first boss not to be all that terrible. I once you get the fireball, I mean, let me be honest with you. I watched a video, I watched a long play, and I went, okay, I'm gonna give my hand at this and see what happens. And every time I took damage from the boulder and the bat within the first 5 minutes of the game, I restarted because I was trying to figure out the pattern. I get to that boss, I Hadouken the boss to death, and then I make it past that with no problems fighting the boss. But then beyond that, totally lost. Couldn't figure out what I was doing.
Well, all the other bosses in the game are basically you got to tank it. Like the second boss, or the boss after that one, basically you have to get up in its face and just wail on it. And I mean, you could maybe try to dodge the flames from the second boss that is throwing at you and try and learn the pattern, but it's so fast, and your character moves so clunky. Like when you want to turn around, it does the Mario World where you face the camera, swing around, right? Like it's extra frames of turning, and that looks great. But it's awful when it comes to responsive control. So you don't have the degree of control to dodge things. So you literally walk to the boss and punch until it dies and hope you had enough life. So that's what this game is like.
Yeah. So there are certain places where like a damageless run, honestly, I think even if you're a speedrunner, is probably not a thing. You save all your damage for the handful of bosses that you just get in their face and just swing away. Like you have a Joaquin Phoenix moment. You swing away, just swing away.
Nice.
So
good use of sights. Well done.
Thank you.
Good use. Great movie.
Yeah. Now, one thing that we haven't talked about, and it's absolutely beautiful, in particular on the very first screen. This game took parallax to the parallax level. They're like, let's show you how parallax works. Like, and
layers upon layers. It's more layers in here than lasagna. It's good stuff.
Right.
Well, the Amiga version had 12 layers of parallax, I think.
I think so.
Did it?
Yeah.
Visually, this game is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Like as a piece of artwork, this game was like one of the earliest video games as art in my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Musically, visually, it's all there. Like the sprite
yeah.
work is great. Little weird that they were like, okay, each enemy is just gonna be like one color, and we'll just do shades of that color.
Uh-huh.
I get it. I find it odd and a little jarring given what everything else looks like, but I get it. But outside of
Yeah.
the way they chose to do that, it all looks beautiful.
Yeah,
Um,
the background art and
but
the screen art and everything is all done by Roger Dean, who did those fantastic covers for a lot of, like, Yes, the band. Go look up their cover art. It was all Roger Dean. He did the background art for this. Sorry,
Hmm.
Wolf.
oh, no worries. But the gameplay is why I did not really bother playing it this week because this looks like a test of your patience for tedium. Honestly, it's
Isn't that
go do the same thing 17 times in a row
Yep.
but
and
isn't
then
that isn't that
move 2
Battletoads?
screens
Yeah,
away and do the same thing 17 times in a row, but a different thing, right?
That's
But
Battletoads.
And
but
it's
isn't that Battletoads?
It's Battletoads.
this is why I don't play Battletoads.
I was gonna say he has never gushed about Battletoads, so
Okay.
he has no leg to
No.
stand on.
No.
I'm the only one that gushes about. Maybe me and GP. We're the only two that gush about Battletoads.
I heard Jake loves Battletoads.
Oh,
Yeah, so
it's
did
my
I.
favorite game. I really do wish I'd go back and play it some more.
You know
I
why
feel
I
for
did
the-
find it
and
a
I-
little weird.
Go ahead, Wolf.
that-
I'll
one of
say
the-
my line.
One of the oh, real quick, I just want to say I do because I'm seeing the orbs flying around on the screen. I want
Mhm.
to say this. I find it a little weird that the Signosis owl in an orb is an enemy at like a certain point.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Just to
Anyway, go
remind
ahead,
you,
Char,
we're
I'm sorry.
here. No,
I don't know.
you
I
were fine.
think that's awesome, honestly. Like, Signosis Owl as an enemy, like, why didn't this happen more?
I think the
Fair.
biggest reason that I get a very alter beast feel for this game is like the eyeballs and the
Oh
the
yeah.
orbs with the
Oh, yeah.
veins in them. That was one of the other things that was kind of made me feel. I mean, it's definitely designed in a similar fashion of Alter Beast, plays completely differently. It's not the same thing. It just visually it looks very Alter
Yeah.
Beasty. And that being,
Honestly,
I mean, it
when,
was an arcade, but it came out on the Genesis. It it has that same kind of dance to it. Those
when you
eyes
pick up
look like fucking Alter Beast, like
Yes,
the ones
they
you
do.
see right now. They look
And
just
when-
like an Alter Beast eye.
and when you pick up the
Yeah,
vials,
wise
it
from
really
your grave.
yeah, when
Yeah.
you pick up the vials, it really should say power up.
Power up.
So for those watching the
Yeah.
YouTube video, I just put up the Amiga version. So this is the Amiga version, so you can see the 12 layers of parallax. I looked it up. So the Genesis has quite a bit of parallax as well, although it's not quite as good looking as the Amiga version. But
Amiga looks great.
when we look at the style of, here's the thing. Yes, the Psygnosis owl being an enemy is cool. The eyeballs. There is such a wide variety of enemy types in this game that you don't see in other games. Most games like this, platformers, beat 'em ups, it's usually the same, 5, maybe 6 different enemies.
Yeah.
It feels like almost every stage in this game has unique obstacles and enemies and creatures,
Including
bosses.
Giant hands and crap that come out of the
Yeah.
ground. Like,
Yeah,
And you're
that's
punching
wild.
missiles. Where do the missiles come from? They
wait,
look
you
like
don't
I
punch
mean-
missiles?
I mean, they look like old timey firecrackers. Like that's what they
I-
look like to me.
I'm
They
worried
got the
that
triangle
you're-
top with the little tube. They look like toilet paper rolls with explosives inside of them.
Now, I mean, think about this. This game did come out in 1989. 1989. And so and I know that the Amiga, like, for all of its warts, really was ahead of its time. It
Yeah.
really was, as far as
I
like
think
the
it was.
graphics quality and the sound quality. But I mean, it's a gorgeous game. There were a lot of badly done Amiga games as well. So this game is absolutely stunning. Jake, I've heard a lot of you were going to try to sell this game. I don't think that you've actually sold this game yet.
I just told you. What else do you want me to say? It looks beautiful. You said that yourself. It's got 12 layers of parallax. I think the enemy variety is what gets me on this game. I think the vibe, the visual presentation is very special. Whether you're playing on the Amiga or you're playing on the Genesis, this game looks great. it feels right at home with the Genesis, to be honest with you. That whole biopunk graphic, eyeballs, blood vessels, that feels like a Genesis game if I ever saw one. It's funny that there is a I'll show some footage of it later on. There is actually a prototype of Shadow of the Beast ported to the SNES. It actually had to call it Super Shadow of the Beast, and you can play it. You can download the ROM and play it. And it's funny because Super Nintendo famously is not as gory as the Genesis could be, so they actually censor out a lot of that stuff. Even the music in the SNES port feels more lighthearted, a little bit more friendlier, a little more chipper and happier. It's very bizarre. It's
they
very
tuned
strange.
everything up to a
dark game.
major key.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I think they did. Yeah.
Yeah, like it feels like Shadow of the Beast, but in sorry Disney, but it feels like Disney version of Shadow of the Beast. It's wild, but it's because this is a dark game, right? Like the story of this game, the plot of this game is also interesting to me, right? Like you're a guy who's been basically enslaved by an evil wizard. You're turned into a monster all your life, and you've escaped, and it's a revenge story. It's like Django, except you're a monster.
Is this
Like,
King's Quest 3?
Kind of, yeah. Except oh yeah, it has evil wizard too. So I think the variety of enemies and all that stuff is really neat. Mm-hmm.
I have a question in terms of the story. When in the Amiga / Genesis game do you find out that you've been enslaved?
So you find out, doesn't it tell you in the opening? Isn't that what it does?
I thought it was pretty early on.
Let me see.
I don't have
I
an answer.
didn't see that at all in the playthroughs I watched.
Maybe it's in the manual.
It's probably in the manual.
It might be in the manual.
Like Super Mario telling you that all of the bricks are like Bowser converting the people into bricks and you're just smashing them all.
Also, can I point out something? Whoever designed these razor-backed army helmet wearing weird raptor beasts that went on the cover of the game, why aren't those anywhere in the game? I have not seen a single one of those running around. I'm just pulling up
the Commodore 64 version to see if there's story in that one, because there's extra plot in the C64 version of all things. There's more screens of text in this one, but you're right. They don't even in this version. They don't give you the opening
welcome
story
when you start the game.
Yeah, it's polite.
I want to point out that the only reason I knew about the enslaved monster thing, right, is because of the PS4 remake.
Okay.
Yes.
There was a PS4 remake in 2016, and they make it a point of like you're playing the opening and you're literally held by the chain by some dude levitating behind you. And you get to a point where you kill someone, his hood comes off, and this main character has a flashback of this guy from when he was a child. And that's when he turns on his captor. And I was like, I didn't get any of that in the old game.
Yeah. I was going to say, this dude could be out for like a cup of froyo, and it's just a really dicey area of the neighborhood. I don't know. I don't
like the character designs in this really out there, really interesting, but I had not a fucking clue of what was happening in this game. Also,
I just punched bats and
Shadow of the
boulders.
Beast? Why is it called Shadow of the Beast? And every single title screen is just
says
Beast.
Beast. Yeah.
Did they just make the game and decide, oh, we got to make the name longer?
Well, when you get to the end, it actually does tell you at the end that you have been freed from the shadow of the beast.
Yeah.
And so maybe beast being the logo is implying that you are under the shadow of the beast. I mean, I'm stretching here.
That's pretty much.
It could be. It might be a thing of like, oh, that's why they called it that. Giving you this line in the movie.
If you can make it to the goddamn end of the game, yeah.
That's pretty much it. That's the plot
you
get.
Of the game.
But every single port of this game, it says at the end, "Congratulations, you've beaten the Shadow of the Beast. This game is over." It's pretty much the same thing. The only difference in any of these ports, the only thing that's different is in the Sega Master System version. In the Master System port of this game, I'm not going to call it an ending, but you get a small cutscene of the beast slowly transforming into a Neanderthal-looking caveman dude, which is what you play as in the second and third games. You're a human in
not
those
into
games.
a bone horror, but
not into a bone horror. No. So the Master System version maybe gives you a bit more plot in that way with the ending, but the the SNES game, I gotta say, for those who are seeing on this on YouTube and on the audio, the thumbnail, there's a smiling picture of the Beast. That's from the SNES version. If you want another reason why it's so cheerful, once you beat the game and it gives you the congratulations screen, you get a picture of the Beast, and no lie, he's smiling at you. It's just it's such a weird thing.
You better have cool shades on and doing the finger guns.
All right. You just brought up the ending again. I'm calling it now. You need to bring up the Amiga version again. And you need to bring up the final boss. You need to bring up foot whore.
Okay. Hold on.
Wow. The fetish boss.
All right. If you're listening on audio, if you're listening on audio, you really need to either go watch along, play yourself, or come view it here. You need to see foot whore.
Oh, oops, I missed it. That's the end. Yeah. Hold on.
Overshot it. Congratulations, you freed yourself from the shadow of the Beast.
Yeah. So maybe this is why it's a shadow.
Is that a euphemism for you never have to play this game again? Is that what they're trying to say? You were freed of never touching this game again.
It's so fun. You want to go through it again. So maybe the reason it's called Shadow of the Beast is because the literal boss, the end boss, is a giant, and all you see on the screen is a giant toe, literally the toenail,
with like the worst toenail ever. Like he needs a manicure. And he keeps trying to drop his club on you. Like he just is like tunk.
That is one mangled ass toe. Look at that.
It's
toe.
He's doing the bat.
It's
that's
toe
bat
whore.
Justice.
It's toe whore.
Like somebody needs to get him some Gold Bond powder because he's got some foot problems, right? Like it's gross. Like it's really something else. And all of them have the same end boss. It's this giant, it's the club, and it's the toe. I think one port, the C64 version, it's not a club. It's like a hook thing that comes from the side of the screen. But otherwise, you're still fighting a toe. Literally, the end boss is a toe. That's Shadow of the
that
Beast.
toe in some Epsom salt. He's got some bunions.
No, the end boss is not literally a toe. It's toe whore. It's toe whore.
I'm trying to understand. There was a wizard that turned you into this creature, and you fight a toe to end the game. Is it just the wizard wasn't available? Was he busy?
Look, it's
out of town.
What's the rogue like that everybody likes? That's mother puts you in the corner and you cry.
Oh, Binding of Isaac.
Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, it's Binding of Isaac before Binding of Isaac happened. Because there's the end scene where mother keeps trying to stomp on you.
It doesn't make any sense. Which one is this? The Commodore 64 version?
This is the Master System version. The Master System version was also neat in that you have an item screen. I don't know if it's neat, but you have an item screen. So you have to actually manually use potions and keys.
It's real neat that they didn't complete the hand either. Sort of cut off halfway through when it's coming down with the mallet.
It already kind of straddled the line of like somewhere between platformer and adventure game. I feel like the fact that this implemented an item screen just made it further toward adventure game while still keeping it an action platformer, right?
Yeah.
Why do you keep rotating between human and weird animal
because
thing?
The wizard apparently
he was transforming back.
He's
special effects.
He's got nice sandals too.
Yeah.
It's the Master System. What do you want, man? What do you expect in Mode 7 here?
Apparently, I want a pair of Birkenstocks with my Shadow of the Beast.
Wow.
He's got Jesus sandals, man. Come on.
But in the second game, that's what you look like. In the second game, you're basically the caveman dude. But in the third game, for some reason, you have an Indiana Jones hat.
You're Indiana Jones in the third one.
I didn't see this one.
So the third one actually takes. I mean, we'll skip ahead a little bit because the second one is basically the game. It's the same kind of thing, except for I think you can actually choose your levels in the second one.
Okay.
Like where you want to go, but in the third one, first off, you get a weapon from the beginning. We're back to Rygar, Wolf. It's the chain thing that you get to launch out with and then you're Indiana Jones. Don't ask. I don't know. You're Indiana Jones. And it's actually a puzzle platformer where like you have to like move things into the right place. You have to use platforms to like, you have to use rocks to like launch you onto platforms. And like they took it and they're like, okay, so people have complained a lot about this game, that it's just a difficult platformer, period. Let's add some puzzle aspects and make it so that at least you feel like you're making progress. And they added checkpoints.
Still impossible. This game is still ridiculous.
Oh.
There's a goddamn ray gun in the first one. Have we completely neglected the idea that there is a gun that you find in the first one at some point in the game?
There's actually a whole
The
shooting
reason he
like a
looks-
flying shmup sequence, actually. So they go full on
There's
shmup.
there's plot. There's plot to him looking caveman like. It's because he's not fully human yet.
Oh, is that what it is?
He's only regained some of his humanity in the second game. The third game, he's finally obtained his human form, and he has to defeat the monster that turned him into a beast once and for all to keep it.
You hit halfway point.
This was a trilogy before trilogies were huge.
You've hit a halfway point. I'm sorry, it's Cro-Mag, man, but it's a halfway point.
Shadow of the Cro-Mag. That's what it is.
Indiana Oog.
How do you know he's human? He wears a hat and pants. That's the final evolution. He throws in a pair of pants
for style.
He finds a
Nothing like a
post-apocalyptic
fedora
Sears.
and Dockers to make you superhuman.
This is a horrible remake of BC's Quest for Tires.
Oh God, this game is so fucking crazy. Oh shit.
I'll find some footage of the third game.
The lore was so deep. Now I know why Jake likes it so much. The lore is just written.
And you know what? You don't need to read it. It's not an item description. It's just there.
No, that's not true. It does. You do read it because it literally prints it on the screen when you fire it up.
But you don't have to open up an item to read it.
It's more in your face than say, the moon saber or some shit.
God, no, Jake, I played these games, and I played a few minutes of these games, and I mean, plain and simple.
I played them. I played them for 5 minutes. It's fine.
I honestly gave the first one like 30 minutes, and I was like, I was ready to throw the controller. I was at that level. Like,
so wait, so this guy can't afford a shirt? Like, is he just still so much of a beast that he still has to go out fucking topless to go fight this thing? Or
Shadow of the Beast 4 is the puffy shirt phase of its evolution, okay?
Yeah.
It's in the pirate shirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld running around.
But I love how he's got the ninja star. Yeah.
Yeah, and they also introduced lives. So apparently,
I do like the exploding bodies too. That's fun.
Once you've progressed past Cro-Magnon, you get multiple lives.
Fair. Is he playing the drums? He's killing dudes playing the drums.
Yeah.
That's where the good music comes from.
It's Donkey Kong. It's Donkey Kong, whatever, where you had the drum set. You remember that game on the 64?
What a silly game.
The music in this one was good too, right? I think you were saying this is the game that has amazing death music.
It's either 2 or 3. I think it's 3 that has the best, and it's guitar metal death music. It's okay. So this is a puzzle that's coming up right here. So there's that swinging dick that's hanging up there. That's gonna crush you and has the spikes. So
I'm still trying to understand how the burning piece of meat is a danger, but you can literally walk through the fire.
Okay, so you free this weird creature thing that's like deformed. I don't know. It's
Raisin?
like a pug gone. It's like a pug gone bad.
Just crushed.
Yeah, and it takes care of that. So it's these are the puzzle elements. These are the puzzle elements.
Yeah, we're giving away the deep plot of Shadow of the Beast 3. I'm sorry, guys, if you want to experience it for yourself.
Okay, so he's working on another puzzle here where he has to have enough weight to move the platform. So it's actually a puzzle.
Is quite the explorer.
Indiana
Oog.
But does it have Toho? That's the real question.
Why does it just have a giant man sitting naked at the end of a bridge?
Oh my God! What the hell?
Sup, bud? Yeah, sup, bud?
It's like the statue of Lincoln. That's what it looked like.
It did look like Abe Lincoln.
It takes place in Washington. This is what it is.
This game was
Shadow
like
of the DC.
somebody was like they tried to draw on what they remembered from Neverending Story, but they were blasted out of their mind while they were watching it. And this is what they got from it.
What is Bryan Cranston's bearded head doing in this game?
Well, you don't like the random disembodied head? You don't like
I
Zordon?
don't get this at all.
So this is a level select. This thing that came up is a level select. Oh yeah,
This guy's dreaming of a
and I'm
ball.
sorry, but that is like that guy has spent way too much time out in the sun.
Wow.
So I'm going to say this right now is Shadow of the Beast 2 and 3 are definitely different kinds of games. They're not the same as the first game. They're dramatic departures. And they also, I don't think they look as good. I think the first one stands better
No, I agree.
for 1989. And I think
agree.
these ones are sequels, even though they were made, I think they're made in what, 90, 91, I think. So they weren't too far off, but they don't look nearly as nice. So like they have a weird black outline of the sprites. It doesn't work at all.
I gotta admit,
Shadow of the Beast 3 was
the puzzle concept in this is kind of neat. It's out there. It's way the fuck out there, but it's kind of neat. I like
it.
That.
Actually becomes a game where there's a puzzle aspect. Like
right.
Yeah.
You were
that
saying
kind
more,
of fits too because he's regaining his humanity, so it becomes less about just smashing things and more about thinking about what you're doing. So I can get past that. Yeah. But it's weird because 3 was actually a 2-year development time. And
oh, was it really?
How it doesn't look as good as the other one, as the first one, I don't understand.
Shadow of the Beast: The Search for a Shirt.
Well, because the first game was made in 9 months, right? But I mean, games were kind of rushed back then. But 9 months was a pretty short time frame for the first game, and it looks amazing for that short amount of time. I think. I didn't realize the third one was 2 years. That's disappointing.
I will honestly say that the puzzle aspect of the third one makes it feel like it's actually more of a game instead of a project in suffering. But I'm with you. The graphic aspect in the third one is, I mean, the first one is, to me, has the best look to it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say the animation quality in the third one is really good. Like, it's really smooth, it's really clean, but the artwork itself kind of blows.
Yeah.
It looks like the backgrounds look like Kid Chameleon, like in certain aspects of it. Like it's got
I can
that
see
same
that.
kind of
Yeah.
stony kind of. I expect to hear, and Kid Chameleon was fucking weird too. So it feels like it's going hand in hand with that style of game. It is very bizarre.
With as cool an alien as everything looked in the first game, I don't understand why they didn't continue that with the backgrounds for the most part. Like at least the immediate backgrounds. The distant background, like that looks really cool. That feels a lot like the first game. But then the structure around you sucks. It's so boring to look at.
It is very It also where it's also boring, it's super busy. Like there's a bunch of shit that's just like there randomly, like that fucking troll that's just like chill. Looks like Dobby on acid. This is psychotic.
Dobby had a bender one night, and that's how he looked when he woke up.
That's what happens when you give a fucking house elf a sock. They just go on the bender. Jesus Christ.
It doesn't have the same cohesive style, right? Like
you presented Dobby an 8-ball.
Yeah, like some things they do in this just scream of what the first game did, like that weird giant Dobby thing we just saw. But then you just get the most boring and bland tile work.
Yeah, the tile work
you might have ever seen, and it's like, why? Why didn't you put more time into it? Like these
felt like they spent more time with the puzzles than the background.
Yeah, the most generic conveyor
so
belt
out of place
and claw mechanics for some
else.
reason. Yeah, it's bizarre.
Time to go barrel riding. What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm like with you, Sinistar. I gave the first game a good hour and a half, 2 hours to get through, but the second and third one I played 5 minutes, died, and I'm like, well, that was a game. I'm good. I'm fine.
Although I'll be honest with you, watching these puzzles in the third one, it actually looks entertaining.
Right.
It does. Like you have to figure out how to make that green dude hump the barrel you're in until he gets it down into the pit.
Fucking
whoa,
Shrek
whoa,
is Princess
whoa.
Leia.
Excuse me, that guy's name is Barrel Whore.
Barrel whore.
Now I gotta see the ending of this game. Does this game end with a toe? Is that what this one ends
Yeah.
with? Let me see.
If
I
this
gotta
does
look
this
up.
does this have foot
I
whore
hope
again?
so.
This better have foot whore again.
This is such a fucking mess. I hope you fight Cracked Out Dobby. I really do.
Cracked out Dobby. Oh,
That's his name for the menu.
No.
it's a head
Oh.
and hands. It's a head and hands.
It's Bryan Cranston's Head and Hands.
What was that movie that
Well, that's-
with the
You
jungle? Was it Congo? It's like Congo, but on crack. Oh, that is a head and
With
hands.
the one with Tim Curry?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
Congo.
is. This
Yeah.
is totally like Kid Chameleon, man.
Was it a head and Kid Chameleon as the end boss?
Yeah, you fought a lot of like they were like shrunken heads and shit. You fought in Kid Chameleon. It was a weird boss system that you fought in Kid Chameleon.
Oh, the hands shoot lightning.
Jesus.
Wow. And then there's
Anyways.
fireworks. And then there's
This is-
fireworks. And then you win.
This is the thing. This is the
And
thing.
you're finally
Does it give you a
human.
shirt? You finally have an extra large shirt.
Maybe
Look at that
after
mullet.
defeating his feet so many times, that's his head and hands. You've just destroyed his bottom half.
You just took his feet. I'll kill you for the feet you've killed in the last 2 games.
That's right.
Wow.
Wow.
It's a lot of
Well,
reading.
I don't know. There's
That's
more
a lot
plot
of
in the third game by
words.
far. Yeah.
Too bad
Yeah.
I ain't reading them.
Well, that's my pet peeve with games is the games that have their own unique font and it's too busy a font when they want to
Uh-huh.
do
You can't
story.
read the
Uh-huh.
font.
Yeah, like when there's like all these accents on the words and stuff. Like just give me a plain font. Like keep that fancy
Is that a
writing for the
U
title
or an-
screen.
Or a
But
Q?
once
What
again-
the fuck is that?
Once again, that text that has like the metal sheen to it that like,
Yeah.
sits in the center and then has like the 3D edges. We've got more of that.
This
And,
is
like-
like somebody got when they first got Adobe when it first came out, and we were using it in our high school, and they were creating their very first website, and they were just like, "This is the coolest font ever."
The look on the guy's face in the end screen is literally him going, "That was it."
It's stoic. He's happy to
That was-
finally have a shirt.
That was
The
what
Beast
I
Lord is
fucking
slain.
went through.
It's
Yeah.
what
It's
else do you
cold
want?
out there, guys.
I don't know.
Uh,
I know the remake came out in 2016, and from what I watched of the remake, the music is nowhere near as good as the original Amiga version. Nowhere near.
Sure,
Like there's elements of it, but there's a lot of like wind and just beast growls. It's not the same thing. And the gameplay doesn't feel like
Wind
the first game
chimes.
at all. Like even the bosses, like they didn't pull any of the bosses. There's no toe as the final boss in the remake, and that's very disappointing. Like
That
how
is
can you not do a
super
giant as
disappointing.
the end
What?
boss?
where's Toho? Come on.
Can't have this without the toe.
Yeah.
So I never did play the PS4 game. I wonder if there's a PC version. There might be, but I
No,
think I'll
it is.
pass on
It
that.
was published by Sony, so it is a PS4 exclusive, probably never to be seen on any other platform ever again until PS4 is successfully emulated.
Yeah.
See, Sony fanboys, you get exclusives too.
Yeah.
Don't you love Shadow of the Beast? 2016's Shadow of the Beast, Game of the Year, Hidden Gem. That's wild.
Honestly, it's rated about the same as the original, which is kind of funny.
Well, the original was like people liked the original game. Like it reviewed well from what I could see. I mean, looking back now, people shit all over the Shadow of the Beast, but I think back then people liked it, appreciated it for what it was.
Sure. I mean, this is 1989, right?
This is a reimagining that was surely delight fans, quotes of video game magazine I've never read.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
know,
honestly, gorgeous game. I
Yeah.
will give it. The art style is absolutely second to none. The music is second to none. Like seriously, I want to just listen to that soundtrack. I want to buy it on vinyl, right? With
It's
a
a
nice
game-
Roger Dean cover.
It's a game where if they gave you extra lives and continues,
Yeah.
it'd be fine. Like this is one, if you play today and you play with save states, I think you're going to enjoy it. I think you're going to have a fun time with it, but you have to use save states. Trying to play this through in one go, one shot, where every death means starting from the beginning, is just grueling in a way that it just doesn't fly in 2024. It doesn't. But if you play this with save states, I think it's perfectly fine. I think people would enjoy this one. I like to look at it, the look of it. I like the background. The world is really cool for what it is. The music is banging. There's even a shmup level in the first game for some reason. Like, how can you not like that? It just, the difficulty is stupid, right? It's the same reason why I didn't like Battletoads ultimately, is that limited continues. That was what killed it for me. If that game had a limited continues, it would be looked at a lot more fondly today. And I think it's a similar situation with Shadow of the Beast.
Yeah, I watched one review where the person basically said, if you try it today, use cheats. Like,
Shadow of the Beast's design looks like somebody was in a kitchen and said, I need to make something with black beans, cinnamon, flour, a loaf of bread, and 5 different cheeses.
And these edible flowers that for some reason I have.
And they just scooped it all into a bowl. Said, all right, here we go. We're going to make some French toast with this bullshit. So Shadow of the French Toast Beast.
But they listened to some absolutely amazing music.
Oh, but the music was fantastic while he was building it.
Yeah.
I like the character design. I think it's funny because before the episode Sinstar, I was showing you the C64 footage. And the first thing you said was this like a homebrew game, or was this a fan version of the game?
Yeah.
Because it's hard to translate these graphics from the Amiga on the Commodore 64.
Absolutely.
I mean, they did the best they could, but
yeah,
this is something else. This was something else.
Yeah,
I don't know, guys.
So I just watched the PS4 final boss, and for whatever reason, they decided, the whole game is this sort of action platformer that Shadow of the Beast is, right? Then you get to the last boss, and it's like, nope, Space Harrier.
Yep.
It's that 3D. It's that 3D. Like, you're moving forward the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Sad they didn't stick with a Space Harrier toe.
Right.
More games need giant toes as bosses. Like, we gotta make this happen. They gotta bring that back. That's an episode.
Named Toho.
Toho, yeah.
Well, and we need more bone horror bosses too.
We need a lot more bone horror bosses.
I don't know, guys.
And
I think I'm glad
doesn't even let him turn back into a person. Oh.
No.
Okay. No. Is anybody else watching Toho behind Werewolf right now?
Yeah, no, he's been punching the toe.
It's been there for a while.
Yeah. It's a good chunk of time.
Sorry, there's a lot of visuals in this episode. People listening.
This is a very visual episode.
But you know what, though? I'm hoping for those who are listening to this episode, I wanted to do this as a game. I'm also doing this game on another person's podcast. I'm guesting on their podcast, and we talk about this game, and I'll advertise it on our Twitter and Discord when it's live. But I wanted to talk about this game because this is an example of a game where I tried in the past, I could stand it, and I thought it was the worst game. But after actually sitting down and playing it, I kind of like this game. Again, it was a hidden gem. I'm not going to go that far. It's no Final Fantasy Tactics, but I think it's a decent game, especially with the modern conveniences we have with emulation. So I hope people give this one a shot and try it, because when we look at like Genesis titles, as much as I love the Genesis, it's kind of hard to say it's a better system than the SNES. But the Genesis has titles like this that are actually really cool and interesting, and they go in an art style that you don't see in the SNES. So I think it's a good game.
Yeah,
it's a game.
No, I would give it. Taking all things into account, including when it came out, including the soundtrack, including the art, including the gameplay itself, I would probably give it a solid 6.5 to 7 out of 10. I really would.
Yeah. 7's not bad. I think 7 works.
Yeah. Now, number 3 with the puzzles, I would probably give it a little bit more, although the art aspect comes down in 3.
Yeah, I don't think I'm sold on 2 and 3. I 2 especially I couldn't stand. 3 had these infinite spawning enemies in sections, and I just couldn't figure that out. I was just wailing on the jungle dudes, the drum beating guys over and over again, until I realized I have to damage myself and go down the ladder, and they explode when they touch you. but I had to like power through that section. That part was very annoying. It's a confusing game. The
Well,
first one is a little simpler.
you know, a good way to put this into perspective is to consider some of the other games that came out in 1989, and then
Yeah.
I'll let you guys decide. So we got Ninja Turtles for the NES.
Hmm.
We got Fester's Quest.
Hmm.
We got what was it? We got DuckTales and Batman. River City Ransom, Castlevania 3. There was an Prince of Persia. And there was one other in here. Oh, Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So when you
God.
hold this
those are your
graphic style of
examples
this
I'm
game
giving
up
you.
to those games, I think this one holds its own graphic style for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like visually, yeah, this looks far and away better than just about any game that came out in 1989. But gameplay wise, I think it lacks.
Yeah.
It's no DuckTales.
It is no
It's-
DuckTales. That is for
it's
goddamn sure.
It's funny because there's NES hard, and then there's like fuck you hard.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, "Yeah, the games aren't hard enough. Fuck you. That's how hard this game is."
Right.
He's like,
yeah.
Silver Surfer is too easy.
Yeah.
What if you had one life and no
Yeah.
bullets?
Yeah.
just go with it.
Just your fists and a loincloth.
And how about we give you a weapon, but once you kill one dude, it's gone.
Goes away. Can you imagine Ryu and Ken with Hadoukens, and the first time they use it, it goes away? You train your entire life to use the fireball, and you only get to use it on one opponent, and it's gone forever. Just
Fantastic.
You know what's funny is Street Fighter 2 just came up behind you.
oh, did it? Oh, it
Yes.
You're like in tune with your fucking mister back there, bud.
just reads my thoughts. That's the way it goes.
does.
I don't know, guys. I hope anybody listening to this episode or watching will give this game a chance. I think it's worth trying out. Just use save states. Any final
I
words from you
concur.
guys on this one? Yeah.
Listen to the soundtrack if nothing else.
Yes.
Yeah.
If nothing else, or watch a long play just so you understand the concept, because the art is high value too. The parallax is second to none. Yeah. I would give it a shot.
If you want to see a lot of interesting backgrounds and things that just don't seem to make sense, but they're in there anyways, give this a shot. It's a good laugh. I was playing it going, what in the fuck is this thing? And just watching the videos just now, I was like, what is it's different. It's unique. It's very Kid Chameleon. It's very Mega Drive. It's very Amiga, but it's got a banger soundtrack. I'm not gonna lie about that. And it does look really good.
And some of the worst foot maintenance ever.
Very bad. Very bad.
It's okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anybody want to shout out anything they've been working on? Chard,
I am
how are you?
almost sorry.
Oh, shipping through Horizon Zero Dawn. Upgraded the video card last weekend. It's running smoothly. It's running nicely. So you might start seeing some Alan Wake 2 being streamed here in the near future, because my system can actually handle it now. So, but Horizon Zero Dawn, we are still kicking and tearing through that. It's a great game. It's been phenomenal. Very excited for Forbidden West afterwards. And then I don't know what I'm going to do. So come and check out the end of Horizon Zero Dawn here real soon.
Where can they find you?
Twitch, Chardmonk, twitch.tv. And here with my friends.
Sinstar, how about you?
Chipping away on my Sisyphean game. I am almost done, I think, with the main story quest on Witcher 3. I have done a lot of side questing, but I've done it in a way that I haven't just side quested myself into Oblivion, like I did with Oblivion. And I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I'm not streaming that for anybody, but we will, I'm sure, do a Witcher episode at some point.
We have to. Yeah.
Pal World is still great, although I haven't been into it for about a week now because I've been working on other things. And my wife, go check her out. Twitch.tv/Sinstress77. SINSTRESS.
Follow and enjoy.
Yeah. She streams
Go
on
follow and enjoy.
Mondays.
Mondays
Mondays
and
and
Thursdays.
Okay.
And sometimes she'll take a little bit break, but most Mondays and Thursdays.
Very
Yeah,
chill,
please
very
drop her a
fun, very
follow.
cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wolf, you got to make me feel better. Have you started your Sisyphean game? What have you been doing?
Your robot voicing,
you're
like we
growling.
can't actually understand you.
You are straight growling.
That was the idea. We're doing a Shadow of the Beast episode.
Oh.
My God.
Well, but it literally, I'm not kidding. It was like raw. Like
It
there
was
was
worse
no
than that.
like.
Yeah, that's what
comprehension.
that one does.
Why?
It just
Oh,
roars.
no, Blaine.
It
It
growls.
just roars. It's just a roar.
Okay.
No, I'm not making any promises and setting myself up for failure, so I don't really have anything going on at the moment.
Okay.
But no, I have not started my Sisyphean game yet. Probably not for a while. Mostly because I learned that I don't have it on Steam. I have it on the PS4, and the PS4 is currently hooked up upstairs, and I have not felt like moving it yet. So
Yeah, so for me, I've installed my Sisyphean game, and I will turn it on at least once this coming week. But it's installed, and that it counts as progress. I don't even know what character
It's
I'm
better
going
than
to pick,
nothing.
guys. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. And I still owe a
Make your
Buck
own.
Bumble stream. So yeah, there is a creative fighter, but if I want to do the ranked, to get that rank, I have to play one of the stock characters. You can't do custom and ranked, so I have to pick one.
Well, that sucks.
I don't know. I'll have to pick one out. Maybe if I wait long enough, Akuma will come out, and I can just cheese my way up to diamond rank.
Wow.
We'll see. Hey,
Wow.
hey, I'll take it.
Wait.
If it's in the game, it's there.
Do they have Dan? Do they have Dan?
Actually, they don't have Dan. I wonder if he'll
Yeah.
come out as a DLC character. They
What?
seem to be taking their time with the DLC characters. It's only 4 a year. It's not as many as I thought there might be.
I want you to
God
I
damn
want
it.
you to get diamond rank with Dan.
I'm not good at these games.
Well,
I've already set a tough goal.
Dan is
Yeah.
particularly bad.
Dan's with you want to talk useless Hadoukens. Dan's your guy. Dan might actually be the Shadow of the Beast. We don't know. There might be a crossover.
He has a shirt
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Disqualified.
and no
All right, guys.
fedora.
We are Press B to cancel. Please, if you don't mind, drop us a follow on Twitch. I'm sorry we didn't stream there this week. We're working on it. Otherwise, drop us a subscribe to us on YouTube. We are trying to grow our numbers there. You can, of course, watch us live on YouTube on Fridays, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, or catch our VODs, of course, there. We're also an audio podcast. Every Monday, we drop the audio version of our podcast. You can listen to us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and anywhere else you can find us. If you don't find us, let me know and I'll get us there. Yes, we're on Spotify, of course, as well. So, and I think Sinistar's been uploading the video on Spotify. So if you like Spotify video or audio, it's there. Yeah. So, yeah. So otherwise, just check us out on pressbtocancel.com. There's also a link to our Discord. Please do join us on Discord. We try to, chat about the episodes and do some callback and some memes and all that good stuff. So I guess that's it for Shadow of the Beast episode, guys. Good episode. Everybody have a great and wonderful weekend.
Power
Don't be a foot whore. Get yourself a pedicure.